Hey there, thanks for watching. It is Christmas Eve and I am super excited to tell you about some of the foods that I am so looking forward to enjoying this evening and then tomorrow during Christmas Day. So the holidays are a super sort of indulgent time for many people where we eat things that we wouldn't normally eat throughout the year, and for me that's super true. Normally I try to avoid especially dairy and sugar because it upsets my skin. So like that's the main reason that I avoid them. But this time around this time of year, I just kind of enjoy, I go all out. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the things. So what I try to do is I try to save those things for only Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and then cut it off. But I do look forward to enjoying those things this time of year. So I'll tell you about some of the foods that I really enjoy having kind of Christmas Eve, and then what we're going to have for Christmas Day dinner. Because Christmas Eve tends to be like just kind of like an appetizer snacks type thing because we're kind of in and out and doing things. Tonight I will be playing in a Christmas Eve midnight mass service at a church near us, so like super fancy kind of like string ensemble type stuff, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then we'll have some like snack type stuff when we come home. And then tomorrow during the day, my mom and I go out for a hike in the morning. We kind of eat, relax, take our time during the day, and then at night we usually go and see a movie. So that's kind of the schedule of activities, and these are how we enjoy the foods kind of worked in there. So these are the foods that I've been sort of saving up for, and I have them on my phone, saving up for, budgeting for, and looking forward to. So the first thing is smoked, and I realize these are kind of like, for me, they're fancy things that we don't eat every day. Definitely don't eat every day, but I really enjoy eating. I realize they might not be everyone's cup of tea, so there's that. Also, so my heritage on my dad's side is Korean, and on my mom's side is Swedish and Czech. So we try to incorporate traditions, mainly from the Swedish and Czech side, because the Koreans have some good food, but it's not really like comforting, warm kind of food. On the Swedish and Czech side, they definitely know how to do, because they, the Northern European kind of climates, they know how to do like warm, comforting foods a little bit better. So a lot of our Christmas traditions are Swedish in nature. So these are the things that we're going to enjoy today, actually right after I finish filming this. So the first is smoked salmon with creme fraiche and dill. So the smoked salmon platter, I love fish in general. I love salmon in particular. And so creme fraiche is like sour cream, but has a higher fat content. Also tends to be a little bit purer in origin. Sour cream might have some thickeners and stabilizing agents added. Creme fraiche does not have that. So that's a difference between creme fraiche and sour cream. I actually just looked that up. And I mix the dill and the creme fraiche together and let the flavors kind of marinate, and then serve that with a smoked salmon, with the salmon on a tray. So that's that. And in terms of price, because this is the well-behaved wallet and you want to know, the smoked salmon platter we got from Costco and it was $11. The creme fraiche was $4 and the dill was $2. So that's number one. So looking forward to that. Number two is an Antipasto trio platter with fancy olives on the side. So the Antipasto trio it's like salami, ham, like fancy, that kind of like meat stuff. And the olives I got from a Fairway, from the olive bar, like with the big like containers and you scoop them up. And I like Fairway because I feel like they're, I'd say like food handling, they're a little bit more hygienic in terms of their storage and handling. So that is the second thing we're gonna have tonight. The third thing is stuffed dates with goat cheese. I love dates and I love the contrast of the goat cheese, that kind of like sweet and savory and that creamy and a little bit like crisp together. And so I really enjoy that. The dates were $5 and the goat cheese is also $5. And for something desserty type, we have Peparkakor cookies, which is a Swedish thing and is something that I make usually around Christmas. I started making a couple of years ago. Again, Swedish in nature, and I like kind of doing that. It's basically like a gingerbread cookie, only much thinner and crispier, and tends to have a lot more spices in them. So I will show you what I did. Put them in a tin that I got from the dollar store, and I made a whole bunch of them. This is what they look like. I put like wax paper down, and they're like a cutout cookie. They are a cutout cookie. So you make the dough. Oh, it smells so good. You make the dough ahead of time, and then freeze it overnight so the spices can kind of marinate. and then you roll it and cut them out. So this is what they look like. This is how thin they are. And my mother's thing is like, she likes them super thin and super dark. So that's what we try to do. They have molasses in them to make them darker. And apparently, I just learned this today, or this year, what you do, the Swedish tradition is you take, like, you make all different shapes, but especially with the hearts, you make them, you put them in the palm of your hand and you tap them and try to break them into exactly 3 pieces. And if you can break it into exactly 3 pieces, you will have good luck for the rest of the year, and you can try multiple times. So I did that as soon as I made some. And apparently, like, it's a thing that you do Christmas Day. You, like, go around and, like, try to tap them, and everyone has different techniques for getting it to break right on the first try. So that's that. And this whole project, the cookie baking project, is very expensive and it's relatively expensive and relatively time consuming. So it actually ended up being closer to $40 to $50 for all supplies, all in: molasses, butter, flour, sugar, vanilla was expensive, and then the tins and the wax paper, all the things you need to make cookies, which that's just what it is. Like, it's and it is, again, quite labor intensive. You have to make it the night before, the dough the night before, and then roll it out and cut it out and then bake it. So it can definitely be labor and time intense. Not as much as some other gifts, but that's just, I had to know that going into it, which I did. And I'm, like, uncertain of whether I would do it again next year, but I really do like having them. And at the beginning of the season, I asked my mom, scale of 1 to 10, how important are having cookies to you? And she said a 6. So I was like, okay, like, that's significant. It's more than a 5. So I made them, and I'm glad that I did, because I was able to give them away. I sent some to my sister. So that was important to me to be able to do. So I really like that, and I am looking forward to enjoying some tonight. Only tonight I tried really to be disciplined in terms of what I was eating and when, because it can be tough with all those cookies hanging around, but I did pretty good this year. So that's something I'm looking forward to enjoying later. And as far as sort of other things like drinks and things go, I enjoy having eggnog once a year. I also enjoy having spiced cider once a year. Normally I try not to drink my calories or my sugar, but this time of year I'm like, I enjoy it. I look forward to it. So we will be having some of that. And what I do is I take the eggnog. I was looking for almond breeze nog, but they were all sold out. So if, like, you see it, you got to grab it. If I see it, I have to grab it right away. I did not. So I just got some regular eggnog. And I sort of mix that with almond milk to cut down on the sugar, because I find traditional eggnog, super sweet. And this may or may not be your thing. I like to add whiskey sometimes. It's like once a day is done and I don't have to go anywhere, I will have some whiskey with my eggnog. And another thing I did this year was I made Coquito, which is Puerto Rican. Actually, it means little coconut. And that is, the way I made it was, because I had some at work, someone brought some in, and I looked up recipes. It was delicious. So I looked up recipes to try to replicate. And it's cream of coconut, evaporated milk, and sweetened condensed milk, just blended together with nutmeg, cinnamon, and vanilla extract. And it was delicious. I added some white rum to that. And I had some of it, and it knocked me over. Like, it knocked me out. I had like half, like this much, and I was done. It was like, it's delicious, but I'm done. Like, I had a headache for the rest of the night. So I actually ended up giving it away as a gift. So that worked out really well. Because the friend that got that was happy to receive it. And I was also happy because she gave me one of my other favorite treats. Again, not everyone's favorite thing. She gives it to me as a gift. So she is part Dutch, and her mom is half Dutch, and she makes an order every year to this Dutch company, and she gets like chocolate letters in the shape of like the letter of your first name, and she also gets salted black licorice, which is one of my favorites. Savory, not sweet licorice. I love it. Again, not everyone's cup of tea. Salted black licorice. Some people just go, wow, to hear that, but I love it, and I love it around this time of year because I feel like licorice is very festive. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I forget if I said prices, but for the eggnog, it was $4. For the almond milk, it was $2. For the white rum, it was $13. And for all of the ingredients all in to make the Coquito, it was about $8, including the spices, which can be pricey. So those are some of the foods that I'm looking forward to enjoying tonight. As far as like breakfast and Christmas dinner, for tomorrow, I am making a slow cooker breakfast casserole with like the bread cubes and the eggs, and I do sausage, like Jimmy Dean sausage, and green pepper. And I was thinking of throwing in some sun-dried tomatoes for that like pop of red, so we have red and green. And then I plug that in either the night before or first thing in the morning and let that cook while we're on our hike, and then we come back and then we have that. Usually we have the spice cider then in the morning, and I'm kind of chuckling because last year was the first year we actually did the hike. Like we went up, it was like an hour drive away, so we went up to a mountain range by us, or a big hill range by us, and we were hiking, and then as we were coming back, because it was like cold and we wanted to be warm, and all of a sudden my mom was like, you know what I could really go for is some spice cider, and I'm like, yeah, me too. So we drove around that whole morning last year looking for some place to sell us spice cider, because everywhere was closed. And we were like going down these like side alleys and like checking out, like trying to find some place to sell us like spice cider. We finally found like a small like bodega open in like a seedier part of town. So, I mean, it was wonderful. And luckily they were open and they had all the stuff we needed, and we were so grateful. But that's kind of like the tradition is this year, like, let's have it at the home. Let's have it ready to go. So that is what we will be having for breakfast. And then for dinner, for Christmas dinner, again, from the Swedish heritage, I fought hard for ham. My mother was not such a big fan, but I was looking forward to having ham, and I have like the pineapple and the glaze that you put on it. So we're gonna have ham, potatoes gratin with using the goat cheese. So I'm gonna roast potatoes and then sprinkle potatoes with rosemary and sprinkle the goat cheese on top, and then a cabbage and apple slaw with toasted caraway seeds. So that is a plan for tomorrow dinner. And then the prices on that, the ham was about $17. The potatoes gratin all in was $4. We had the goat cheese from the dates. And then the cabbage and apple slaw was about $6 because it's cabbage and green Granny Smith apples. So I had to like go hunting for them, right? Like I just needed 4. Like people wanted, like they came in a big bucket. Like there were these like big totes of apples. And I'm like, no, I just need 4 apples, not like 52 apples. So I had to like go to a few different stores to get that, to find that. So that is our plan for Christmas Eve today and Christmas dinner. Super looking forward to it. These are the foods that rock my world once a year, and I so enjoy and look forward to enjoying them once a year, and then absolutely the next day getting back onto sort of a healthier protocol. So I enjoy it once a year, and then I sort of healthfully go back into what I normally do, which again is just kind of protein based. I'll have the ham, and I'll just throw in some more veggies as per normal. So those are my favorite foods of Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I've enjoyed telling you about this, and I would love to hear if you leave me a comment about your favorite Christmas foods. So thank you again for watching. I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Hope that you're enjoying it somewhere with friends, with family, in solitude. I hope that you are having a blessed and peaceful Christmas.